Alright, welcome back Algebra 1, Mr. Geisway here. Today we're going to be looking at your 1-3B notes, and these are all about least common multiples. So before we do that, you can see here I have the factors. We're going to go over a GCF from the previous day's notes. So I have the factors of 32 and 12 written out here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the right hand side of our list and go down until we see the number that they both have in common. So the biggest number that will divide into 32 and 12 evenly is 4. And then if you remember, we look at our variables. We have m squared and m to the first. Remember, this is a power of 1 if there's nothing there. We want the smallest power there, so that smallest power is m. And then for n, again, we have a power of 1, power of 4, so the smallest power is n. So the correct answer for your bell ringer is that right there, 4mn. Alright, so let's get into the new stuff now. Finding the least common multiple. So one method you can do, you list the first 5 multiples of each number, and then the smallest number that appears in both lists is the least common multiple. But there is a much faster and easier and better method, and we call it the ladder method. And this is what I'm going to show you guys today, and basically encourage you to do this because it's so much easier than the other way of listing 5 multiples. Alright, so this is how it works. We're going to take our numbers. So in this case we have 18 and we have 90. And this is why it's called the ladder method. We basically draw what kind of looks like a little capital L with a long bottom. It kind of just looks like a ladder. And then what we do is we look at our numbers, 18 and 90, and we want to find a number that goes into both of them evenly. So you can, just take your calculator and find a number that will go into both of them evenly. They're both even, so I know that they are both divisible by 2. So then what we do is we say 18 divided by 2 gives me 9. 90 divided by 2 gives me 45. Draw your ladder underneath it, and we're going to repeat this until we can't do it anymore. So I need a number that goes into 9 and 45. And you might recognize that 9 goes into both of them evenly. 9 divided by 9 is 1, and 45 divided by 9 is 5. Once you get to the point where these numbers here on the bottom, 1 and 5, you get to that point where nothing can be divided out of them other than 1, and that's when you know when to stop. Alright, so I know that I'm done with my ladder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these numbers on the outside, 2, 9, 1, and 5, and I am going to multiply all of them together. So you take out your calculator and you just enter in your calculator. We're going to enter 2 times 9 times 1 times 5. And you're going to find out that the least common multiple is 90. Okay? And again, if at any time during these videos you're confused, rewind, rewatch it, see if you missed something. Just keep going back until you understand what's happening. And if you're still confused, just ask in class and I'll be happy to help you out. Or if you're a remote learner, just send me an email or a private comment on Google Classroom and I can help you out. Next, the least common multiple. Now we're looking at 20, 50, and 14. So what we're going to do is we're going to take those numbers and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put them in our ladder. So 20, oops. A little bit of delay here, sorry. Let me try that again. So 20, 50, and 14. And again, we're looking for a number that will go into all 3 of them now because we have 3 numbers. So there should be a number that goes into all 3 of them evenly. And again, I recognize that they're all even numbers, so I'm going to divide a 2 out. 20 divided by 2 is 10. 50 divided by 2 is 25. And 14 divided by 2 is 7. Now, when you get to this point right here, there is no number other than 1 that will divide into all 3 of them. But that doesn't mean we're finished, because what we need to do now is we have to look at 2 of them. So is there a number that goes into 10 and 25 evenly? Well, yeah, I can divide a 5 out of both of those. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 25 divided by 5 is 5. And then what happens here? Well, 7 and 5, that doesn't go in evenly. So 7 divided by 5 is some decimal, right? So if you get that, 7 and 5, since 5 does not go into 7 evenly, the 7 just comes down. So we're just going to bring the 7 down. So then what we do is we look here at our numbers on the bottom again, Is there a number I can take out of 2 and 5? Well, other than 1, no, we can't do anything. So how about 5 and 7? Same thing. The only thing we can do there is take a 1 out. So once we get to that point where all that's left to do is take 1s out, we take these numbers here on the outside and we're going to multiply those together, okay? So 2 times 5 times 2 times 5 times 7. Okay, when you do that, 2 times 5, that gives you 10, times 2 is 20, times 5 is 100, times 7 gives you 700. Oops, got an extra 0 in there. Let's get rid of that. So 700. There is your least common multiple. Next, now we're going to throw in some variables. Same process for the numbers though. I'm looking at 6 and 9. I want to know what number can I divide out of both of them evenly, and that is a 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now I'm left with a 2 and a 3. Nothing I can take out there other than a 1, so I'm finished with that step. Now it's time to multiply. 3 times 2 times 3. Okay, so 3 times 2 gives you 6. 6 times 3 is 18. That means A is out and D is out. So it's either B or C is our final answer. I know my number is 18. I just have to figure out what is the variable. Now, for GCF, what we did in the previous notes, we looked at the smallest exponent. For LCM, it's just the opposite. So all I'm looking for now is my highest exponent. So the highest exponent here, the biggest number, is a 5. So that means my correct answer is C, 18k to the 5th. D. Same thing here. Start off with your numbers. I'm going to start with 18, 30, and 10. So look at your three numbers, 18, 30, and 10. Put my ladder around it. Find a number, 18, 10, and 30. What number can go into all of them evenly? Again, I recognize that these are all even, so they are all divisible by 2. Sometimes you got to start out with a nice number like that just to make these numbers a little bit smaller and make the math a little easier. 18 divided by 2 is 9, 30 divided by 2 is 15, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. Ladder, there we go. All right, now let's look at two of them. So just pick any two numbers, 9 and 15, because if we look at all three, there is no number other than 1 that will divide into all three. So let's take a pair. How about 9 and 15? Do you notice a number that will divide out of 9 and 15 evenly? Well, hopefully you recognize that 3 goes into both of them. 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. 5 divided by 3 is not a whole number, that's a decimal. What that means then is bring that 5 down. We don't do anything with it. Next, in this step, again, look at any two numbers. Do you notice any number that can divide out of two of these evenly? Well, there's two 5s, so we can take a 5 out. Again, 3 divided by 5 does not come out evenly, so bring the 3 down. We don't do anything. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And again, 5 divided by 5 is 1. All right, so we got a lot of numbers here, but we're going to do the same thing. You break out your calculator, and we say 2 times 3 times 5 times 3 times 1 times 1. All right, so let's go through these. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. And then 30 times 3 is 90. Times 1 is 90. Times 1 is 90. So A is out and D is out. Again, both of those answers are gone. So I know my number is 90, and now I'm looking at my exponents. So what is the highest exponent for x? Look up top there. What's the highest exponent for x? Well, 4. What's the highest exponent for y? 3. And the highest exponent for z is also 3. So the correct answer again here is C. E. This is the last one that I'm going to do. What I want you to do is pause the video, try it on your own, and see what you get for an answer. If you need to go back through A, B, C, or D just to refresh your memory and make sure you know what you're doing, go ahead and do that. And then come back to E, try this problem, and see what you get. Okay, I already have it done. So once you're done, you can play the video again and see what you get. All right, so what I got, here's my ladder method. I started out with 108, 60, and 20. I recognize that 4 goes into all of them. So 108 divided by 4 is 27, 60 divided by 4 is 15, 20 divided by 4 is 5. Then I recognize that 15 and 5 are both divisible by 5, so I took a 5 out. 27 divided by 5, again, that's a decimal, it doesn't work. So I just bring the 27 down. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So I'm left with that. And then I recognize that 27 and 3 are both divisible by 3, so I took a 3 out. 27 divided by 3 is 9. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And again, this 1 divided by 3 gives me a decimal, so I bring that 1 down. Multiply all those numbers, 4 times 5 times 3 times 9 times 1 times 1. And I believe you get 180. So that takes, I'm sorry, not 180, 540. Sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong problem here. So 540 means that A and D are possible correct answers. And then if you look at your highest exponents, x to the third, y to the third, and then z to the fourth. There's two copies that have two parts that have z to the fourth. So those would be your highest exponents. The correct answer here is D. A is gone, so A, B, and C are incorrect. Cross them out. Correct answer is D. So again, if there's any part of this that you are not sure about, try to rewatch the video. If you're still unsure, ask me a question either through Google Classroom or email, or you can ask me in class.